डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी।
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम आशुतोष बहुगुणा है। मैं सर्टीन में एज ए साइंटिस्ट डी कार्यरत हूँ। आज हम साइबर सिक्योरिटी इनिशिएटिव्स इन इंडिया विषय पर चर्चा करेंगे। सो टुडे वी हैव अ लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स इन दिस सेशन अबाउट द साइबर सिक्योरिटी इनिशिएटिव्स इन इंडिया। We will discuss the role of Indian computer emergency response team. We will see the information security education and awareness program initiated by the government of India. You may be aware about the Digital India program. So Digital India program is launched by the government of India with a vision which is centered on three key areas, that are digital infrastructure as a utility to every citizen. Every citizen should have access to the digital infrastructure. Another is the government and services on demand over the ICT network to be provided. And third is the empowerment of the citizens of India. So digital empowerment of the citizens of India. So these are the three key areas on which the vision of Digital India is centered. So the key concern about is the cyber security. So cyber security, the ICT infrastructure and the services and the digital growth, what we have to do is the manage the cyber security concerns which arise from the cyber security threats and cyber security malicious actors. First, like we will see in a cyber security concerns, that expanding role and implementation of technology across sector in the country. So today we are relying more and more on the ICT infrastructure, and so our attack surface also increased. Second is the volume and complexity of information technology ecosystem in the country. Third is the growth in volume of transactions and sensitive data exchange. So rapidly changing security and threat landscape. As we know, on the daily basis there are new threats, new malware, new viruses are emerging, and those are the threats to the cyber infrastructure. So there is a shift in attack vectors and the nature of their launch. So today attackers are able to remotely conduct the attack on the ICT critical infrastructure and ICT infrastructure and services. So to reduce the cyber security risk exposure of IT infrastructure and ecosystem in the country, that's the objective and that's the concerns for the governments, organizations and sector across the world. So in India, if we see the top level national document is the National Cyber Security Policy, which is a guiding document which provide a guiding document how we should secure our country's cyber ecosystem. This cyber security policy facilitates creation of secure computing environment. This provide the guide to stakeholders actions what they need to do. It provides a roadmap and articulates our strategy how we have to protect our cyber security ecosystem of the country. In the policy, the implementation of policy is by the means of actions by the government, actions in the collaboration of PPP model, action by the private sector and the academia. So National Cyber Security Policy is the top level document of a country and is available at the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology website, that's www.meti.gov.in. Another document created by CERTIN is the Cyber Crisis Management Plan, and this Cyber Crisis Management Plan is created with the objective to protect the cyber infrastructure, ICT infrastructure within our organizations, and how we have to react to if there is any cyber attack. What are the policies and procedures and way to react to the cyber attack. So this cyber crisis management plan needs to be implemented by all the organizations and sectors to protect their information infrastructure. Cybersecurity, the role of CERTIN. The CERTIN stands for Indian Computer Emergency Response Team. And usually all the countries having a national level CERTs, their role is to primary role is to respond to the cybersecurity incidents in their constituency. So for the national CERT, constituency is the whole country. For the sectoral CERT, like a finance CERT, if you talk about power CERT, we talk about, they look for their constituency is that specific sector, and they respond to the cyber attacks, cyber attack targeting that particular sector. So for the country India, we have a national CERT, that's the CERT-IN. So Indian Computer Emergency Response Team is enabled under Section 70B of Information Technology Act, and it's a national nodal agency to serve as a national agency to perform the following function in the area of cyber security. So prime responsibility is to respond to the cyber security incidents, then collection of the data related to the cyber threats, then the roles and responsibilities of the CERTIN are defined in the Act under Section 70B. So cybersecurity incidents as seen in the country are like web defacement, changing the home page of any website by the malicious actors, attackers, malware propagations, then web application based attack, and as you can see in the list, the different and various type of attacks are there. Insider attacks are there are phishing attempts are there. So those attacks are type of incidents are seen in the country. So in CERTIN, the work process, there are several vendors, agencies, international forum reporting, providing information to the CERTIN, and then CERTIN is analyzing those reports, those incidents, and then helping the organizations victim to resolve and respond to the cyber security incident or a crisis. So at CERTIN, we are promoting the best practices such as the how to securing the web server guidelines, antivirus best practices, handling the malware cases is there, platform specific guidelines such as the Linux based, Windows security based, perimeter security guidelines such as on a firewall, intrusion prevention system, intrusion detection system, securing the home computers for the users, parents, businesses, children's, how to be secure online, and security assurance framework that when we are doing something, we have to get a confidence that we are doing it right. That's the security assurance framework. CERTIN is conducting cybersecurity exercises and participating in cybersecurity exercises on a regular basis. There are mock drills, cybersecurity drills conducted regularly at the national level. There are tabletop exercises conducted for various organizations and critical sector entities. National exercises, multilateral, international, bilateral exercises with international partners, and sector specific exercises like the for a finance sector, for the power sector, those exercises are conducted. The CERTIN initiative is the cybersecurity mock drills, national, bilateral, and multilateral with international partner, national partner on a regular basis. Skilled and qualified IT security auditors are impaneled by CERTIN by taking a skill verification test, and CERTIN is also publishing the computer security guidelines for compliance across government organizations and other sectors. CERTIN also set up information exchange with sectoral CERT, CISOs, Chief Information Security Officers of critical infrastructure organization, ISPs, vendors, and there is an initiative of botnet tracking, malware analysis, and the cleaning and takedown of the command and control server and the system set up by the attackers. So certain on regular basis tracking the websites for any defacement, any malicious activity, any intrusions, and certain also doing the network behavior analysis for distributed denial of service attacks, virus, worm infections. There is a regular vulnerability tracking and the analysis of those vulnerabilities. So regular training and awareness programs are provided for the different organizations, and those details are available on the certain websites. So certain website is www.crt-in.org.in. So those details are available there. Efforts are being made to promote security tips for the end users, how to protect and secure their desktops, laptops, mobile phones, USBs, and other devices. There is an initiative launched for the malware cleaning, botnet cleaning, and malware analysis center that's known as a Cyber Swachhata Kendra. The more details are available at the website. There is an agency which is National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center NCIIPC, and is set up with a vision to facilitate safe, secure, and resilient information infrastructure for critical sectors of the nations. So, mission is to protect the national critical information infrastructure of the country by this agency. There is a information security education and awareness program initiated by Ministry of Electronics and IT with the objective for building the capacity in the area of information security. So regular training programs are conducted there. More details are available in the slide given there, and so they are creating the more information security professionals so that we can protect the ecosystem, cyber ecosystem of the country. Chief Information Security Officer Guidelines (CISO) guidelines are released by Ministry of Electronics and IT, and it defines the roles and responsibilities of the Chief Information Security Officers of the organizations, and especially critical sector organization. So it's having those details of the CISO guidelines, what is expected from the CISOs is available at the ministry website. That's the meity.gov.in. There are cybersecurity research and development initiated of Government of India and the ministries, and they invite the various projects from the academia and the researcher to contribute to the cyber security by developing the tools, by developing the methodologies and frameworks for securing the cyber security ecosystem, for securing the information infrastructure of the country. So cyber security research and development details are available at the meity.gov.in, that's I already discussed. Cybersecurity frameworks for banks are released recently by the Reserve Bank of India in June 2016, and that framework is for the banks to how they protect their ICT infrastructures and services which are relying on the cyber infrastructure. So this is the empanelment process by the certain, and it's having, as you can see, is having a 5-step process. And the first step starts with the document verification, document evaluation of the auditing organizations. Then there is a offline test of those auditors, skill assessment test of those auditors. Then there is a black box online test of auditors. They have to qualify all the steps, and then they have to come for a PIS, personal interaction session, to add the certain to defend their reports. Then there is a background verification, their credential verification, and finally then if they qualify all these steps, then they are impaneled by certain. So organizations, entity can make use of those vendors, those service provider for getting their infrastructure audited from the security point of view. For the incident reporting and information exchange, you can write at the incident at the rate crt-org.in. There is a toll-free number, there is a toll-free fax, there is a incident reporting form available at a website. If some cybersecurity incident happens, so organization report those details at the incident at the rate cert-org.in. So government is enabling the CSERT, CERS and information sharing and analysis centers, that's the ISACs. So CSERT stand for the Computer Security Incident Response Teams, then Computer Emergency Response Teams and ISACs. So these are the name of the agencies who take care of the cybersecurity incident, who respond to the cybersecurity incidents and improve the cybersecurity of particular sector or a country. So the level of operations, if you see, there are a national level search, there are a sectoral search, there are organization level search also, and there are states government search also. So that's the one of the objective of the government, that to enable the entities, sectors, states and organization to create their own search. So this was about the initiative of the cybersecurity initiatives in India. So in summary, we have discussed in this session about the various government initiatives taken in the cybersecurity. We have discussed about the CSERT, search bodies and their activities. We have discussed about the information security education and awareness project. We have discussed about the various activities of the certing, like the empanelment, incident handling, cyber crisis management plan. So that's for all for this session. Thank you very much.
स्वाध्यायः परमं तपः स्वाध्यायः परमं
डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम आशुतोष बहुगुणा है और मैं एज ए साइंटिस्ट डी इंडियन कंप्यूटर इमरजेंसी रिस्पांस टीम 13 में कार्यरत हूँ. इस सेशन में हम डिस्कस करेंगे मैनेजिंग साइबर सिक्योरिटी, हाउ टू मैनेज द साइबर सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज एंड द साइबर थ्रेट्स. सो the objective of this session is to learn about the managing cyber security, the art of managing the cyber security, cyber security frameworks, different frameworks already there which we may use or organization may use to protect self from the cyber threats. Then we will discuss maturity models, the cyber security maturity models. That's the roadmap of an organization to move a ladder of a maturity. We will discuss CIS, critical security controls, 20 critical security controls. If at some point of a time we cannot do everything available in a framework, so what we can do, we can implement, at least do the 20 critical controls. So we can say that we are reasonably safe. Then we will see the cyber security must have at least condition, minimum baseline. So that's the cyber security must haves. So managing the cyber security. So in the managing the cyber security, is the first thing is the understanding it better. So understanding it clear. That means first thing we have to understand what the cyber security means, what our problem is that we are going to manage. So there are various terms such as information security, cyber security, IT security, or maybe others. So what is the relationship between them? Is the information security is a subset of cyber security is a subset of information security, or both are same, and what this IT security is, and then what the critical information infrastructure is, and what the national critical information infrastructure is. So first thing is that we have to be very clear what we are going to manage, what we are going to achieve. So here I will refer to a source CIPedia. So visit this website CIPedia. This may help you to clear what you understand by cyber security, information security. There are various definitions by different countries, different organizations, and different entities. So that the definition, first thing I suggest you to make your definition of a cyber security and the information security. In a literature, if you will search for, you will identify some says that the cyber security is subset of information security, and some few says that they are neither superset subset, they are intersecting each other, they are a set A and set B and intersecting each other. So the first thing is to the making the understanding of the cyber security, definition of the cyber security. So first thing, after doing that, but the other challenge is that managing with limited resources. We are not having unlimited resources. Our funds, our manpower are the challenges for doing the cyber security, managing the cyber security. So effectiveness of security controls. So sometimes I have seen that in many organizations, in many audits, we have set up some security controls. We have implemented some device, but whether that device, that security control is effective in producing the cyber security for the asset, whether that device or a control is sufficient to protect us against the cyber security threats, so that we have to analyze, get an assurance about the effectiveness of that control. So those are the managing the cyber security. So what is the information? So information and the information security. So by definition, if we will go, the information can be in any form, digital form, in a paper, the password remembered by your employee. So if we go by the information security definition, we talk about CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability. So it should be, information should be available, A. It should be, integrity should be there. That means the information should be same as produced, and confidentiality means it should be only available to the people who are authorized to have it. So if your job is to manage information security, you can go for an information security management system. That's the ISMS. It brings the information security under control of a management. So if you are implementing information security management system, the best to go for a ISO IEC 27000 series of a standards. So 27001 is to certify the information security management system. So ultimately, what the organization has to achieve is not to protect only from the digital and the cyber threats, but also from the other threats, such as the insider threats, such as a physical penetration attempt. So all those threats, all those ways should be used to protect the information, and that's the information security. So implementing information security, when you will go through the ISO 27001, the standards 27002 speaks about the code of practices to implement the ISMS. So it says that scope, context of the organization, leadership, and then it talks about the risk management, it talks about the support, it talks about the operations control implementation, it talks about performance evaluation of your ISMS, it talks about the continuous improvement. So these things, these parameters are used for, mandatory parameters are used for implementing the ISMS. So there are controls in the ISO 27001 which organization, as per the statement of applicability, can select for the implementation. So what can the controls be? Control can be the having the encryption, can having a teleworking controls. So if you are working from remotely to the office, what type of controls should be there? So organization can select and implement those control as per the applicability of the to the organization, like a human resource security, human resource they have to do, physical security they have to do. So those controls is there. The NIST cyber security framework, if you are looking for implementing the controls and a framework for the cyber security, then you can make use of a NIST cyber security framework. So this framework you can customize as per your need. You can select the implementation tier, and then you can make your profile and implement for our organization to protect the ICT and your cyber domain from the cyber threats. So there are a framework core, framework implementation tiers, and framework profiles. So this the organization implementation tiers and profile can select, and the core. So what is the core component of that framework is to identify, then the protect, then there is a detect, then there is a respond, then there is a recover. So what it is the identify the assets, identify all the assets. Then second is the protect them from the cyber threats and cyber attacks. If there is a cyber attack, then third is the detect it. If there is some attack is going on, then there is a respond. If attack is successful or someone is trying to attack, if there is some incident, then respond to that incident. Then recover from the cyber security breach or an incident. So this is the framework core. This framework core is having these 5 categories, and then there is a list of activities what organization need to do, categories and subcategories which organization need to can implement and select based on their resources, their applicability to their organization, and can move to a better cyber security. So in identify, if you will look at the details within an identify category, then we can say asset management, business environment. So manage all the assets which is within your purview. Then business environment of your organization, governance structure, risk assessment, what type of a risk are there for your organizations, risk management strategy, whether risk is accepted, whether risk is rejected, whether risk is mitigated. So those, then there is a supply chain risk management. If your vendors or in a supply chain can cause a attack to your organization. So these things are under identify. In protect, what you have to do is to use the protective technology like IPS or parameter security devices, antivirus solutions to protect from the cyber threats. Similarly, data security is there, administration of devices is there, maintenance of devices is there, awareness and training, because people are also important part of cyber security ecosystem. So their awareness and training is also very important. Then detect, if someone is trying to attack or already compromise the system, then detect that attack or attempt of attack. So continuous monitoring, reviewing the log and detection devices, detection process should be in a place to successfully detect the attack or attempt of attack. If the attack is successful, then respond to it. Respond to it by analyzing its cause, reporting to the authorities, identifying mitigation actions and the improvement and the countermeasures and communication within the organization and outside organization if that incident is there. Then recover means to come to the original as it was earlier before the attack. Then that planning should be there, what actions need to be taken to run the system again with the 100% features. So those things comes under the recover. There are subcategories under those categories, and that you can see, you can download that NIST cybersecurity framework document from NIST website and can go through the implementation tiers and the subcategories and other references. Okay, so the next topic is about the building the cyber resiliency. So building the cyber resiliency is supported by the cyber crisis management plan. So cyber crisis management plan are different from the incident response plan. Incident response plans are when you are responding to the incident. That plan help you to respond to the incident. But cyber crisis management plan not only talks about the response but also about the proactive actions also. So that's the building the cyber resiliency. So goal of any cyber resiliency, building cyber resiliency within organizations is anticipation. So risk analysis, anticipation of the threats, attacks to the organization, protection and detection. And then withstand if there is an attack is successful. Then recover from that attack if attack is successful and evolve to the improved posture. So these are the cyber resiliency goals which a organization can implement. So cyber security capability maturity models are there. These maturity models help the organization to assess their current posture, current state, where they stand in terms of a cyber security and where they have to move to the next level. What the actions they have to perform, identify those actions to move to the next level. So these are there are 10 dimensions. If we look specifically to the C2M2, then it talks about those dimensions and for the capability maturity model which the organization can work on improving and assessing their current state and improving to further state. So sometimes it may be difficult for an organization to implement the complete framework or standard in one go. So what is the solution suggested is that implement the CIS critical security control. So at least do these 20 things and then the most critical worries will be gone. So at least you can do these CIS critical security controls, at least you can do these 20 things which are you can then move to the further to implementing the frameworks and standards. There are 20 controls, so you can also see and look into those controls like a vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. What it is? Vulnerability assessment means looking for the weakness in a system, doing the vulnerability assessment. Then penetration testing means doing the penetration attempt on the system. Red teaming exercises are there, which test for a people, process, technology, all three components. Data recovery capabilities. Suppose there is a WannaCry ransomware attacks on your systems. The data is encrypted. So there should be data recovery capability within your organization. Antivirus, anti-malware software, anti-malware solutions should be implemented here. But the most important, as if you see, the first and the second category is the inventory. That's the most tedious and challenging task to do in a cyber security. Most of the organizations are not aware what the software they have, what type of hardware they have, where it is placed. So it is saying that in a 1 or 2 that there should be an inventory of a hardware, authorized and unauthorized hardware. There should be an inventory of authorized and unauthorized software. There should be secure configuration of the devices, hardware and software. Those things are, so at least we can do these basic 20 controls. Sometimes it may be challenging or you are assessing a cyber posture of an organization. So we suggest that at least you do the cyber security must have 5 controls only. So we can say these are the cyber suraksha ke 5 seal. So at least start with 5 controls. So what the roadmap we suggest is that start with 5 controls if you are having a very, very limited budget with no resources at all. So start with 5 controls, then move to 20 controls, then move to the cyber security framework, then ultimately information security framework. Along with that, you measure your maturity using the capability maturity model. So 5 controls, when talk about the first thing is again the inventory. Know what is there in terms of hardware, software, what is authorized, what is not authorized. Secure configuration, that's important again. Continuous vulnerability assessment and remediation. Look for a weakness, vulnerability in your systems, in your network, in your applications, and patch them, remove those weaknesses. Controlled use of administrative privileges means the administrative right should only be limited to a limited people. So it should not be that all people can access the system as an administrator. It should not be like that. All the employee of an organization accessing systems as an administrator. And then anti-malware solution, because there is a virus, malware, and problems of spywares are there, ransomwares are there. So it's better to have an anti-malware solution. So we start with 5, move to 20, and then go to cybersecurity framework, and finally reach to the information security management systems. So that's the art. We discussed roadmap, we propose to the organization to implement. So in summary, we discuss cybersecurity frameworks of NIST, ISMS, Information Security Management System, ISO 27001. We discussed the maturity models, and then we discussed the roadmap, how the organization can move to a better cybersecurity or information security posture by at least starting with 20 critical cybersecurity controls or 5 cybersecurity must-haves. So that's all for this session. Thank you very much.